the last remaining car of the Red Law 1 train. Back in 1955, we had two trains in the park, Red Law 1 and Red Law 2. Red Law 1's a passenger train. Red Law 2's the freight train. It's still here in the park. The only thing we ask is please supervise your children. We don't want them to fall down and get hurt. Make sure they're seated while we're moving, please. So this particular car is the last remaining car of Red Law 1. Back in the day, this train only stopped at Main Street. The child's going to be needed to be seated when we're moving, okay? All right. So this particular, the trains operate on a narrow gauge railroad track. It's 3-foot gauge. In between is narrow gauge. A lot of Walt's friends operated on narrow gauge. Warden Kimball, Ollie Johnson, and used to have their own trains back in the day. So Walt wanted to have his own train, so right here at Disneyland there were trains. That's why he put them in. So, two trains, Red Law 1 and Red Law 2. They traveled around the park quite well until 1958. Then in 58, Walt Disney put in the Grand Canyon diorama, and when he did, people had trouble looking out the windows to see the animals, so he added a third train. We'll talk about that shortly. Over here on the right-hand side is our Frontierland station. Back in 1955 was about 75 yards further south and on the opposite side of the track. You may hear a clicking noise. That clicking noise is the Morse code, and it says something. What does it say?
Walt's opening day speech.
Right. To all who come to this happy place, welcome. Dear age, can we live memories of yesterday? Youth can look forward to the promise of tomorrow. It's exactly what it's, or close to what it says. This is our water tank. Our locomotive uses 250 gallons of water every hour as we circle around the park. I will speak once we get to the other side of the tunnel. Most everything you see in the park is 5/8 scale. Walt wanted things to be a little bit smaller so the younger guests would be able to feel like they were a little bit older and bigger. There was only one problem with everything being 5/8 scale. Walt couldn't find any 5/8 scale people to travel in the train. So the doors really are 6 feet tall. He made that decision while he was at Ward Kimball's home up in San Gabriel, California, studying in the coach that Ward Kimball had there. So again, there were two trains. And then in 1958, on the 27th of March, Walt Disney opened the thing called the Grand Canyon diorama. When he did, if you were riding in his coach, there were bus seats in here. You may notice the bus windows. If you were seated over here, you had to look through 3 other heads to look out the windows to see the Grand Canyon. So Walt Disney got a lot of complaints. He called one of his WED guys, a gentleman by the name of Bob Gurr. Bob Gurr has done anything with wheels here at Disneyland. Built our third train, our excursion train. That's where all the seats are facing forward. So this particular train then becomes a little superfluous because we had 2 trains and only 2 stations. That's right, in 1955, if you're on this train, it only stopped at Main Street. If you're only on the other train, it only stopped at Frontierland. In fact, there's a passing siding, or the remnants of it, right in front of our station. Again, the trains would bypass each other. So again, this train was only kept for rainy weather, and what they did was they added more trains to a little bit better to see the diorama with, and later on the dinosaurs. So one time we actually had 5 trains and 4 locomotives. Well, so the decision was made to sell off the trains back in 1974. The first car went to a private collector. It was called the Wells Fargo car. It went to a private collector here in Orange. It's now out at the Carrollwood building out of LA Live steamers and river cars. The next 4 cars were through a series of trades and other negotiations were ended up in Santa Margarita, California, where you can ride them today. And also we got a locomotive back from it. Now originally this was called the Disneyland and Santa Fe Railroad back in 1955. 1974, Amtrak came out, and so Santa Fe didn't need to sponsor passenger trains anymore. They dropped the sponsorship. We then became known as the Disneyland Railroad. So back also too, the reason I was calling the trains Red Law. Anybody know why I called them Red Law?
Red Law, Walter spelled backwards.
Walter spelled backwards. Walter actually owned the trains. They were not owned by Disneyland. Neither was the monorail. It wasn't until 1984 that Disneyland acquired the rights to the trains. So the Red Law Corporation again owned the trains till 84. 1974, this car was converted from the Grand Canyon. Some of the other cars were like Navajo Chief, Painted Desert, Pueblo, and so on. So this particular car was kept. Now you have your tickets, right?
No.
Okay.
Did we get our tickets? We didn't get tickets.
We didn't get them.
We weren't given our tickets.
If you look at your ticket, take a look at the serial number. Okay, anybody had a chance to decipher it? That was our bicentennial year. That's why we kept this car. It was made into a bicentennial car. It had a lot of red, white, and blue festooning on the outside. The inside had been changed too, and it had been renamed the Lilly from the Grand Canyon. Now, they did a lot of things. They took out the fiberglass that was here. Fiberglass was great back in the 50s for building things with, even cars. But they took that out, put in the stained glass. They redid these panels here. They carpeted the car, and they had white wicker furniture in here. Walt Disney would not have liked the wicker furniture. In fact, Lilly and Disney came in and had it taken out and disposed of. And then she went to a yard sale and she purchased some more furniture. This bench, and that bench come from the yard sale. The Queen Mary was being refurbished as a restaurant and hotel. They had excess furniture. She purchased it. It was in brown leather originally. She had it redone in what you see today. She also printed some tickets for friends and relatives to ride in the car, which you have examples of. There was a mirror here where the bouquet is. There was a showcase. We had another buffet where things could be set in transportation. And Club 33 was the normal club to be here in the car, not Carol. So, the first VIP to ride in the car was Emperor Hirohito and his wife. It was their first trip outside Tokyo since Pearl Harbor. They were here on October the 25th, 1975. First ones to ride in the car. Also, too, went around the park quite well up until about 1995. And then, because there were vents in the roof that let out hot air, not that I know anything about hot air, and also let in rain, it was taken back to the roundhouse. It was kept there until 2005 when it was rediscovered, sent out for refurbishment and redone like you see it today. In the refurbishment, they took off the mirror. On the back of the mirror was a paper, a brown paper, that had all the names of the people that had changed the Grand Canyon to the Lilly Bell. Underneath the marble top of the buffet was a note dated 1977 saying how much fun people had riding in the car. Those documents are currently at the studios. Also, too, we had to take all the wood off the outside of the car. When we did so, we found names that were in the side panel of the builders originally from Burbank that put the car together. They put it back together, and by the way, in the third panel, you can't see it, but the names are on the outside of that panel, the third panel down in the roof. Now they also brought in the carpet, and you may want to take a look at the carpet and see the hidden Mickeys. Mickey and Minnie are in the carpet.
Oh, there they are.
Oh.
Right?
See the Mickey?
And the first VIP to ride in the car after the dedication was Mia Farrow. Now the car was rededicated on February the 15th of 2006. Anybody know why we chose the 15th of February? You're on.
I don't remember that one.
That is Lilly and Disney's birthday.
Okay.
And that's why it's still called the Lilly Bell, Lilly and Disney. And we also, that same day, dedicated our number 5 locomotive, the
Ward Kimball.
Ward Kimball. That's right. So that was redone. Like I say, Mia Farrow rode in the car. Now we did a few minor changes. Of course, we didn't bring back the mirror. The lamps that are here, the 2 sconces, come from the Haunted Mansion. They were refigured for the car. This remnant here actually is from the Disney family apartment. It was on hand in case they needed to replace the carpet. Now, we're going to be going through the Grand Canyon diorama and Primeval World. The reason that we got rid of this particular train was because of the Grand Canyon. The Grand Canyon diorama, the background, is approximately 302 feet long, 34 feet high, 350 gallons of paint are applied to the canvas. There are no seams in it, one piece. And it took them 40,000 man-hours to paint it, all painted by hand. Now, let me tell you about things in the car. You may notice that ovaloid thing. Anybody know what that piece of furniture is in the back?
It is a smoke divider. You put it
It is a
people.
smoking screen. Victorian smoking screen. When the men retired to the parlor with their cigars and brandy, that would go in the doorway so the women wouldn't go in and be affected by the smoke. Now, there are a lot of urban myths on this car. Walt Disney does not have a favorite chair. Walt Disney passed away December 15th, 1966. So Mr. Disney would never have seen this car because, again, it wasn't converted and operated until 1975. Also, there's about this piece of fabric here. That is a lady's dressing jacket, not a smoking jacket. It is not from the Emperor of Japan because the Emperor of Japan came in 1975. Walt Disney passed away in 1966. So, highly impossible. So, it is here for a reason though. We call it a smoking jacket because we really don't want people to smoke. That's why we have 2 references to smoking. Walt Disney passed away because of smoking. Are there any questions about our railroad and what we do? Because I need to know. What year's that picture taken? Great question. I'm not totally sure. But I would place it somewhere about 1964, 65. Mainly because of the vehicle. That's what I would place it. Any other questions? Okay, we're going to be going through the Grand Canyon. Everybody knows where the armadillo is, right? Okay.
So you could point out the cloud, the Mickey cloud, because I know there's one in there.
If you find when you take a picture, and please bring it to me.
I will sometime, because I
The
know.
Mickeys were not appropriate in Walt's lifetime.
Yeah. There was a... Actually, Scott.
So how you doing, sweetheart? You having a good day?
This is great.
Ask you to stand up. You stand up too.
Shut up.
We're going to go dancing.
There's the armadillo.
So you may notice as the scenery goes by, there's a second shelf down here where the trees are on. Okay, now we're going to be going by the pussycat. We're going to go by the turkeys, and you can see it way down there in the bottom. You see it come up, the white white ridge down here. See it right down there? Now look over here behind the.
Oh, there he is.
There he is.
There he is.
Oh, how funny!
Oh, are we having dinner? Sweet. Are you going to be here that way?
I'm just a reporter.
Oh, we'll buy you a pizza.
Primeval World came from the 64-65 New York World's Fair. It was by the Ford Motor Company. It's called the Epic Command. Walt Disney got it back from Ford at a very reasonable price, brought it back here and installed it here at Disneyland back on March 7th, 1966. One of the last 4 attractions Walt Disney opened. We also brought back the track, because you've been going through here. You had a track you rode on, and it had a 1964 and a half Ford automobile. They actually had a half year on their model year.
Oh, I did see that.
Yeah, and the track came back. It's our people mover.
Well, I think I saw probably
They have.
25 people.
Yes, there was a. We talked about a deal. Art Linkletter was here too.
Yes. Really?
Robert.
Yes. I've got a movie. I'll let you borrow it.
Robert.
Oh, yeah?
Anyway,
Yeah.
Art Linkletter said he would do it for free for Walt.
Yeah.
Wouldn't charge him, only if he would let him have the rights to selling Kodak film in Disneyland.
But yeah, you used to say
And he made a lot of money.
He made a
A lot of money.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I thank you for traveling with us. I thank you very much for your kind attention. I'm sorry if I bored you to death.
No.
Very good job, Vern.
Very good job.
We're going to leave the group that joined us here at New Orleans on the car. If the rest of you would please come on down. Exit. Thanks for traveling.
Were you bored?
No.
Every time I come on this, I learn more things. That's why it's so cool.
Yeah, I'm sure we can ask him and he'll give us a ticket. Yeah, one of the fun things is if you go to the Disney Family Museum in San Francisco, they sell the copy of the ticket $70.
Oh, wow.
We get it here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm sure Vern's getting us a copy. Now,
We're not going to get off yet.
A certain Google app, I forgot what it is, but you can get into that museum for free.
You want to go down there? You want to go down there?
I have a friend who's a docent there, and I want to go.
Oh, sure. What would you want to take a picture of?
Oh, the Walton Lilly.
Yeah, the Walton
Make
Lilly.
sure you get a picture of this plaque.
I got it.
Yeah.
Evangeline, no.
Oh, that way.
That way, sweetie.
Oh, look, Evangeline, go this way. No, this way.
Go ahead, sweetie.
Yeah, I did. I put my foot up, so.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I saw my video on.
What's my name? So my name's Annabelle.
Oh,
That's a pretty name.
Thank you.
come on.
My husband's favorite ride was the People Mover.
Was it?
Yeah,
That's
the
his
people.
absolute favorite ride of the whole.
I wish
ever.
they'd bring it
Well,
back.
if we can get some things done to it for it so it's safe, maybe we have.
Yeah, that's his
Oh,
favorite,
it-
absolute favorite. So we go to Florida to do it.
I also enjoyed the rocket rides, but
Oh, yeah.
Where
They
they
were-
were
yeah.
originally.
it wasn't very
Where
good.
they were
Go take a picture of
originally.
the.
Yeah, but they just weren't.
There you go.
The building just wasn't capable of handling what I heard.
Every time I come on here, I learn more and more new things. That's why it's so cool.
I wrote a
Sure.
article and
Ouch.
in the
Sorry.
archives. In the archives of the Burbank School.
Oh, how neat.
I used to hang out with Warren Kimball. I used to, I knew quite a few of the people
Yeah.
here. Bob Gurr, I see him all the time. In fact, there's a photograph of he and I in his book. Okay, guys, we're going to be moving the train. If you're going to be getting off at Norton Square, please find yourself a seat.
My father was a Magic Kingdom director here back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah,
All
and
my privileges to
Okay, have a
do
seat,
certain
please.
things.
Are we going to be able to get tickets? The tickets?
Vern?
You have a tattoo on your butt to prove it.
No. Hold on. Thank you. Vern? What was your name again?
Mike.
Thank you, man.
That's it.
Oh, cool.
Okay, we're almost.
Well, almost done. We're just going to go to the next stop.
See, that's not the story that somebody else told me. When I had a different person, they said it was the Emperor's coat.
From what I've heard, that
I'm
it was...
sorry.
Well, you did a good job.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've heard a couple of
there are
different...
a lot of people who have missed some things, but again, if you look at the timing, there's
Yeah.
Thank you so
Well, from what I heard, it was... This is a... Not the coat, but it was one that, you know, the Emperor... I heard somebody gave one... The Emperor gave one to Lillian when he was here in honor of Walt, even though he knew that he was dead. It was, you know, in his honor.
Oh, that's a good one.
That is a good one.
if you'll turn your camera off.